Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're back on the website of Dogny auctions based in Switzerland. We're going to have a look at another auction of theirs which contains musical instruments. Now there aren't many instruments in this auction, only 21, but I thought as the last catalogue was fairly interesting, why not have a look at this small auction anyway, because you never know what's going to be there. So this particular auction is finishing on the 26th of June. It's the 19th today, so a few days left to go. Buyer's premium on this auction I believe is 23%, so whatever the final hammer price is, you need to add 23% onto that. If you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing, like, comment, turn on notifications, etc., because it really does help. We're just going to blitz through this really and see what's around. So starting off, we've got an Australian ceremonial didgeridoo. Signed Wary, and they're saying before 1998. So we've got a few pictures here, kind of nice decoration there, and they're looking for 300 to 500 Swiss francs on that one. Then the next lot here, something that we don't necessarily usually look at, is a music box here, but as it's a small auction, why not, we might as well. So it's 150 to 200 Swiss francs. So as before, the images on this particular website, they're actually really high quality, but unfortunately they do not load particularly well all the time. It can be a little bit slow and it does get itself a bit confused, but in any case it is a music box. Moving on, we have another lot here. We have a Thibouville Lamy 19th century Mircourt barrel organ there. Operation not guaranteed, so 400 to 500 Swiss francs. It may not actually work, but it has the little cards that you can put the different tunes in, so that's pretty cool. Right, we have a violin. German work, late 18th century, Harlequin table violin. Okay, work by another author for the table. Okay, so it's a composite. Numerous restorations in the table bottom, seal redone, broken neck. See report condition. Ooh, we've ended up in a crazy view here. So that is the violin. Quite a nice scroll on that actually at the front. It's quite interesting. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, that's a pretty cool scroll. Let's have a look at the back there. You can see that the purfling seems a bit different from the rest of the instrument. A nice scroll. So 600 to 700 Swiss francs. It's not a crazy amount. So yeah, interesting violin. Maybe if we just quickly zoom in a bit. As I said, they're really detailed, these images. So it's interesting to see that purfling there. And if we have a look at the purfling on the back, it's hard to say, but I think it is kind of slightly different, but we don't have the pictures next to each other, so that is interesting. But moving on, I've got a French violin here, Mircourt, from the Lebert House, 1920s to 1930s. I think we all know what these look like at this point. 357 millimeters. Needs a bit of work here and there. Not too bad a condition. Let's have a quick look at the front, just see if there's anything interesting going on. Looks like there's a crack or so underneath this F-hole. Needs a new bridge, bit of TLC, but could be worse. And that was 300 to 400 Swiss francs. So we've got a German violin with a Nicholas Amatus label, 360 length of back. They're saying 1920 to 1930 on that. Quite a nice back on that actually, as it goes. But you do get some of these trade kind of violins which have quite nice wood, but that looks like a fairly standard, yeah, as I say, kind of either late 19th or early 20th century trade instrument. Got another German violin here, 200 250 Swiss francs here. They're saying German violin from 1900 to 1940 with a worthless case and bow. They're pretty brutal, this auction house. They don't really hold back. They just kind of tell it like it is, really. So we're waiting for the images to load. Oh, quite a nice back on this as well, actually. Let's have a look at the bow, maybe, if we can. It's quite a nice head on that bow, to be honest. So, but yeah, it does look like a fairly standard bow. Maybe we can have a zoom into this back. Okay. I actually think this is like a fairly nice looking instrument, to be honest. Quite like this. Quite nice back on that. Let's have a quick look at the front of the scroll. It's quite a nicely cut scroll. Let's have a look at the front. Looks like a few things going on there at the front. Interesting kind of folds there, quite wide grained at the edge. I think that's actually not bad. I don't think that is too bad a violin, to be honest. 200 to 250. So I just go back and see 355 length of back as well. So I quite like that. Perfect condition, ready to play. I think that's a really decent price, to be honest. 200 250 Swiss francs. I can't really argue with that. So we've got an anonymous violin bow mounted in Melchor. This, I mean, is pretty similar to the bow that they said was worthless in the other auction. Screw blocked, if not kind of worse than the other one, so we can ignore that. Got a German industrial violin from the 1900s, 1920s in Italian inspiration with a Schweitzer label, so I think most of us already know what that's going to look like. 361 length of back. Let's have a look there. A slightly different model of those type that we're used to. Worthless student bow again. They do like to add the worthless stuff, but at least they're honest. That's the bow. We're seeing the same one there. Yeah, it's definitely a kind of generic bow, that. Okay, another German violin, circa 1920, 1930. I'm seeing a pattern here. Inspired by a violin from the Milan school of the Testore family, 760 length of back. Okay, let's see if we can actually get the pictures up here, because it is pretty slow again. Just said unfortunate, really. Looks fairly standard from that view. Let's see if we can have a look at the back as well. And let's see what's going on here. Okay, interesting. So it looks like it has scratched purfling, maybe inked or scratched purfling, which I guess would be something that you would see on some Testore instruments. But the scroll is not really giving anything like that, so that's interesting. Okay, Mircore work, 19th century. French violin, 359 length of back. Multiple poorly restored fractures. No sole fracture, neither on the bottom nor on the table. Probably not his head. Okay, I love the translations. So probably not the original scroll. Let's look at that. I quite like that as well. Interesting scroll there. Let's have a quick look at the back. Looks like there might be something going on. It's a bit less interesting from the back. There's some interesting edge work and pins here. So not too bad. Have a look at these side views. Okay. Yeah, interesting edge work there. I think that's quite interesting. 600 to 800 Swiss francs. Certainly be something that I'd look at in person if I had the chance, but obviously I don't, so I will not really consider it. Right, German work, silver and ebony mounted bow, 200 to 300 Swiss francs. bearing a C Neuville mark, 66 grams as is, slightly worn above the rise. Okay, 66 is a little bit heavy for a violin bow, but quite nice pinned adjuster there. Not sure about the rest of it, but once again, be worth looking at that in person. Right, another violin, circa 1920, 1940, 600 to 700 Swiss francs. It's bearing a Giovanni Pistucci label. It's 358 length of back. Perfect condition and ready to play. Amazing. Okay, looks kind of nice enough, not giving me anything particularly interesting at the moment, and not a massive fan of that from the back. Scroll is kind of nice enough there, side view and label. Yeah, interesting enough. Not too bad in terms of the estimate. Another German violin, circa 1900, 1930, 359 length of back. Some restorations on the table, including a break in the core, reinforcement on the top, so it's had a sound post crack and some repair. This is not really anything particularly interesting to me. Right, German work, late 19th century, 355 length of back, accompanied by a worthless box and bow. As is, the first Steiner is missing under the bottom heel, joint redone, core break at the bottom with cleats. So this just looks like your kind of standard 19th century trade violin, to be honest, but we'll wait to see if the images show anything up at all. I said very slow, unfortunately, the image loading on this website. I don't think the internet here is too bad. It's just very, very heavy in terms of the photo quality, which normally is good, but we also sometimes have this problem on Teresio as well, where the pictures are just too heavy. So as much as I do really appreciate good photos, I think people need to be mindful that if the photos are just too heavy, you basically just crash your system, and that is just no help at all. So we are really struggling on this one. It does not like it, so I'm pretty sure it's just a generic trade violin, so we'll just have to ignore that, unfortunately. Let's see if we can have a look at this. Paysold and Alfred Knoll, a whole load of bows here. 250 to 350 Swiss francs. It's interesting. It's deciding it doesn't want to translate the thing today. Mixture of looks like violin and cello bows there. That's kind of strange that it's not translated that. That's a bit weird. Don't quite know why that is. $250 to 350 Swiss francs there. Looks like a cello bow there at the end, but we'll skip that as we're not really getting anywhere with the images. Got a German work, Anton Brewer, 4-string kind of violin guitar type thing. 762 length of back, good condition, with no restoration. So it's kind of one of these violin zithers. Pretty cool back, actually. Yeah, saying these weird 2 holes at the bottom corners. Maybe it was mounted on a wall or something. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but that one actually looks like it's in fairly good. I was going to say it's in good condition, but no, neck's coming off, so that's a bit of a project for someone. Maybe we'll just quickly see if we can just have a look at this, the front and the back of this, if it's decided to load up a bit. It is a really quite a shame that this website just doesn't load photos properly, but there we go. And there's the back. Yeah, it's just your generic Steiner kind of trade instrument there. Got an anonymous silver mounted carbon viola bow, 150 to 250 Swiss francs. Right, cello bow, French work, brand of Vigneron, 500 to 800 Swiss francs there. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, it looks like quite a nice bow actually. It needs a bit of restoration work. I would probably check what's going on here up at the head. There's restoration needed here. I would possibly look at the really amazing quality of these photos, I have to say. Really quite impressive. I would just check over some of the marks on this bow. Probably fine, but worth looking at. And as you got the opportunity for these really great high quality photos, why not? Right, German work, cello bow, early 1900, mounted in Melchor. Missing grain on the rear, small line on the beak of the head, no restoration or accident. Okay, could probably zoom in on this one as well, and maybe we could see what's going on, or maybe not. So possibly a few marks here and there. Okay, and the last lot that we've got here, 19th century cello, probably French work, 300 to 500 Swiss francs. Numerous restorations, including sound post fracture at the bottom, fractures on table, very deteriorated varnish. So it looks like it's got a sound post crack on the front and on the back. Not necessarily super uncommon for cellos. It's got the Romberg there as well. Varnish, it looks very messed up, so that's unfortunate. It looks fairly generic, if I'm being honest, and just messed around with, so that I don't think is really anything particularly interesting or worth dealing with. That is a huge sound post crack in the back. Look at that, all the way from the bottom almost to the top in a really nasty way, so that I would personally stay away with. But anyway, a curious little auction, and that's kind of it. Done. I have to say, actually, the one thing that I quite like is this this German violin. I think that's looks pretty good to me, to be honest. So yeah, nice back. Nothing wrong with that at all. Anyway, so that is the Dogny auction, or at least the musical instrument part for that auction, finishing on the 26th of June. Check out a link to the catalogue in the description, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.